All right, guys, you ever talk about Jessica Jones, Season 2, Episode 7. And this was interesting. We got some backstory.
We got a whole backstory.
Yeah.
This triggered my autism extremely hard.
Explain that.
The episode started, and I was like, I guess that inhaler's turned Trish into a pop star of some sort. Like, what the hell is going on? Wait, how long has it been? What's happening here? And then, I forget what it was, but something finally made me go, oh, it's the past, or something like that.
So for a brief moment, you thought she was so high that she became a star.
I was like, she's got powers. She's doing her comeback tour now. She's cray-cray for Cocoa Puffs. This is the whole thing that's happening. She, like, jumps up on a guy, and I'm like, is that Malcolm? Because it was, like, from behind. It's, like, club lighting. And I was like, that doesn't look like Malcolm. What's going on? And then everything. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Something's going on here.
Something about this... The timeline didn't line up for me.
No, this is.
Did you have an issue with the timeline?
So even though there are things about this episode, I'm gonna start summing things up in the beginning.
Okay.
Even though there are things about this episode that I liked, in general, it felt like this awful, clunky, retcon-y thing or whatever. And I really hate. Ever since Batman Begins is where it crystallized for me. I'm like, don't just get a haircut and put on different clothes and pretend to be you from 10 years ago. This is awful or something like that. Because Jessica was just she's wearing bad lipstick and she kind of talks like this, and it's like, okay, I guess you're a kid. Like, this is awful. Fuck, I got all like upset because Trish looks exactly the same, and I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Fine. So again, by the end, I was like, I liked the ending, and I kind of liked the idea.
Jessica looked younger. Like them doing whatever they did to her hair definitely made her more youthful. But the issue for me was, I can just tell
it's still them though. It's
and of course.
Yes.
I can't remember the exact numbers. What does it say? It says my mom's been she thinks you've been dead for 5 years. So I'm like, all right. So you were what, 14, 13 when that happened? I'm like, all right. So 5 years later. So I'm like, they just got out of high school ish. All right. So that happened then. I'm like, how old is she now? I thought she was 30 or something. Didn't they say Trish was 30? So I'm like, okay. So it's been 10 years since what's happening here and what's happening then. And I was like, just something about that puzzled me, and I was I don't know if that makes sense, because this seems like, what?
Well, and I hate when we hadn't seen this history before, so it's not like the worst offender of this, but I hate when you reframe something and you go, it turns out this other person's been there all along, and it's like Jessica in her crib, and everyone's just the same person's she came back and touched her life again in between all this, and then went away again and all that stuff. I don't like things like that.
No, it made I didn't have a problem where I'm like, you didn't recognize her, you saw her before, because I'm like, you saw her once for nothing, and half your conversation was through a bathroom stall. So I'm like, that didn't bother me. But I was like, it's a little weird though that she did see her, she did approach, and then 10 years or whatever goes by, and then you're back at it, and you look exactly the same.
It's not like forgetting that you put 4 turtles into the sewer on the day your father died, and now there are 4 mutant turtles that you're talking to, and it's taking you days of your life to put this all together. My dad died at the lab, and I poured these turtles into the sewer. Now there are these sewer turtles that can talk, and just being wait a minute. So it has that kind of weird vibe of wait, that was the same person, that was the same day, that was the same thing, you just so happened not to, and then this happened, and all these things or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's over now. It was just a story, so it was just done to tell us about these things. So it's not the end of the world.
I didn't like the theme that she's been getting taken advantage of by guys for how long, and I'm like, at what point did Kilgrave come into the picture? Was it shortly after this? Because it seemed like he'd been ruining your life for a while. Was she an established PI before Kilgrave, or did that happen after? At what? And I wonder if they're going to do more backfilling here, because I am interested in knowing more about this timeline and stuff.
I think they're being very careful because it's very not lining up.
Because Trish had an issue with drugs when she was Patsy, and then got clean, and then got fucked up again doing her Patsy's singing tour. So I'm like, what exactly? How many times can you do this? And I understand in reality stars do this all the time.
And she said 10 years sober, thank you very much, to that woman who wanted the extra hundo in the wig lady.
So it happened just
So she was literally talking about that.
Yeah.
That was getting sober, I guess. I don't know, something about that. It's a weird thing. it's like a flashback, and like all the people from the thing were there, and like everything's just this little tiny, like the world is already so small, and then we flash back to a little pocket of like history that was also very small, and only had these 6 people.
It didn't trouble me so like I didn't have really any issues with what was happening. I actually thought like I'm like, that got pretty real, like Trish on the bathroom floor and stuff. I was like, wow, all right, I'm kind of bold. I enjoy when an episode does some things, but it was just there was some like nagging thing about the timeline where like, and I can't even put my finger on the exact thing that I was like, wait a minute, does this make sense now because of that? But something in my head, like I was just like, hang on, something seems wrong.
No, because that's what I mean. It just kind of feels clunky or feels wrong. I'm not saying like, wait a minute, the angle of the sun, obviously this is not on the moon. Like I'm not going all crazy about it, but like no, like you know, I at one point during this episode I was like, how long is this episode? Because like all of this I knew was just backfilling and giving us details about stuff. So it didn't have the same like I can't wait to know what happens. Like I couldn't wait to get back into the room where she's telling her all of this.
I loved when the story ended and she's just like and just like punches her in the face, and I'm like, all right, you got a good one in there.
No,
and then the doctor
wonderful.
fucking tranks her or whatever.
That's the last note. Is like, can you ever forgive me? No. Whack. Sedated.
Yeah,
that's like the thing. Like, I like she's like rolling one tear, like thinking about that dude, thinking about her life, thinking about these missed opportunity with her mother.
What are your thoughts about that dude? Cool. Now she only knew him to be a good guy, but like, and he might have been lying to those guys. We don't know that for certain. But he always came across to me as a shitheel, and I hated him.
Yes, I think they did a really good job, though, of making it like he's like that's what a shitty person really is. It is like a shitty person, no matter who they're around, never like drops the facade and twirls their mustache and says, my plan is working perfectly. There's always this hustle and
just
this
working
game.
angles and this and that.
And he was that dude. Like I love that she immediately recognized and like confronted him for him being like, hey Trish, here's my business card, and her being like, is that why you wanted to like what the F, man? And then he had a thing like, hey, listen, and had like a whole thing to that. So I was like, okay, this is like a plausible shitheel though, right?
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing is that like I can understand it, like Trish does have a lot of money, and I do think she could, without thinking about it, drop money into his business and change his life dramatically. And potentially, he does believe it's going to be a success. Be a business,
and they make him sympathetic by it's not just like he's like a dreamer. He's made some bad choices, and now there's like pressure too. So you have this whole, and life is again like ugly, complicated reality. That's what I like in my fiction or whatever. So yeah, Trish on the floor, strung out. Trish like it's fine. I'm just enjoying myself. All that stuff, like this is awesome.
That
was
was super believable too.
I'm like, this is super dope. Yeah. And the guy's like, she said leave or whatever. And I'm like, oh my god. And her friend guarding the door and all that stuff. Like that's really ugly. That like gets me or whatever.
That is
like,
life.
That's dope. That's dope. Awesome. So I don't know.
The mom, I had mixed feelings. When the mom destroyed that dude, I was like, well, he's a shithead, and like he's taking her down a path. I'm like, already she's like a criminal because of this dude. I'm like, so I don't like him. Then when the mom like bashed him, I'm like, oh, it's over because you can't hit him and live, so he's dead.
Yeah, I wonder why his head just didn't like a grapefruit, like Gallagher style, just like destroy on the side.
I think just for the kids.
Just for the kids.
They couldn't show that. But yeah, it was still graphic. Like whenever you're pushing a man's head until it like flattens a bit.
No, and like the angle of it and like showing her thing and all that. It's just too convenient that her rage was always causing problems in Jessica's life somehow or whatever.
I did like seeing the flashback of when she broke out of the prison and destroyed that lady, snapped the neck on that nurse, like the first twist of a neck, like she really fucks that shit up. And the lady that we know now is like, homeless nurse,
Inez,
like getting that glass in her back. You're like, oh shit.
That looks super fake, though.
But I would have liked to have seen the kid come in and save her. I want to see that kid. I want to see that shot.
I wonder if they'll keep that going with her telling more a story or whatever, or they'll meet him or something like that.
I don't know. They're gonna definitely meet him. You're not gonna say that and not happen. Unless it's some long tease that's like at the end of the season and it's going to be a thing for next season. But I think you're going to get some of that this season.
It's heel fist.
Heel fist.
No, I liked that speaking of setting up or teasing or whatever,
Uh-huh.
they actually said like she threw me straight into a thing and she twisted Joanne's head clear off or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you got to literally see that, and it's awesome her lying by the bed and looking under the bed and seeing her like mangled corpse all looking
Yes.
weird. So like, okay,
What did the nurse
cool.
that got twisted realize that when she was like, no, wait, like what was?
Oh, there was a pill in like the something like from the bed or like a bandage or something like that. There was a pill in there.
Ah, I didn't notice
So she
it.
was like, "Wait, she like because like all their dialogue is like, did you give her the medicine?" And she goes like, "Yeah, I thought the dosage was a typo until
Yes,
he like
yes.
corrected me." I'm like, "Okay, so she's just on massive doses of like sedatives." That's
I didn't
fine.
think it would ever be a pill. I
Right.
think is why I wasn't even looking for that. I assumed it would always be injection because
You
you
would
can't
think.
trust a demon monster that
No.
to swallow.
And I don't know how that plays out or why that's a thing or something. But yes,
Yeah. Or like you put it
they-
in a tube down her neck and like blow it down with like water or something. Yeah.
No, you like they chose not to show that, I think, because that doesn't necessarily hold up. Like she was on like good behavior at that point, so like whatever, but it was still like, and like
Yeah,
but-
crazy is as crazy does.
but-
Snaps neck and throws bitches.
But I like the panic. I like, oh shit, and like running and doing the thing, trying to hit that button, the lockdown
I love that
button.
there's even that like glass credenza thing in her
Yeah.
room. Like, why would that ever be? There was like
Oh,
like
okay.
glassware was like I remember
Yeah.
like they dropped a glass once in the hospital room, and I was like, why are there? What is this, a house?
Why are you
like,
giving her weapons?
should not everything be like crinkly plastic cups and like utensils and like a non-breakable thing?
Yeah. Non-lethal things or
Yeah,
just whatever.
like every
Yeah.
hospital
Yeah.
ever. And I'm like, I get this is a private hospital. Like you might
Yeah.
have some like fancy highfalutin type. Like you need to save my son. I need glassware. Like,
He saved my son. He needs 2 types of forks.
But it struck me as a little
I'm
odd
rich, you see.
and convenient for the plot.
no,
but the
it
same way
is-
you could have
right.
thrown her and she could have got impaled by metal. Like
Or like a medical device of some sort.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's like we're deep into the nitpicking, but like while we're there, I guess she's so deadly just as like a naked person that doesn't matter what's in there, but that's no reason to leave things, right? That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure
well,
what
because they would have built these facilities before they had her. That's what I'm
Yeah.
weird. I'm like, so your average person wouldn't have this stuff in there.
Yeah,
But,
and
well,
your
you know.
average person could like break the glass and then wield it like
Sure.
a weapon to escape. And you're obviously experimenting on. Well,
I don't even
was
think
it
they
multiple
usually do
people?
that because they're afraid of someone attacking them. I think it's afraid like a patient could fall into this and get injured.
Sure.
You can't have any risks. Make it out of cushion. What? So
It's a world of cardboard.
the episode was pretty much just that flashback, and then a brief moment into the future, the present, where we see that.
Yeah,
that
I guess we
punch.
gotta look forward now, right? Ugh.
The next episode will probably pick up from right there. So Jessica will be tied up to a bed or something herself.
She'll have those weird titanium things on
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
And we'll get a second evolution where she's super strong and rips through.
I was gonna say something, right? She'll evolve to the second tier Pokemon or whatever. Because that was the whole thing. This whole time, it's been like she's stronger than me or whatever.
Mhm.
It's like, oh wow. And then I'm like, is that because she's older? Or is that because she's the pure? Right? We
I
said
think
like
it's because she's she
she's-
is
she's
the
like-
whole evolution of
she's
that, while
like
Jessica's just one half
pure,
of that.
pure strong, and she's half.
I do wonder though, like there
know.
seems to me like the greater villain hasn't risen yet. So we're how many episodes are in the season? Is it 12?
It's yeah. They usually do 13. I
13?
think.
So we're about that halfway point. I feel like there's a redeeming moment where somebody would rise and Jessica's mom would die fighting that person.
Right.
Is like what you would normally see in these scenarios. Because what is your ultimate end going to be if it runs this course? She'll
Yeah.
fight her mom at the end, and they'll be like, "Oh no, I had to kill my last family member." Like that. I'm like, that seems too simple.
I love the tone of voice there. I think yes. No, like my joke prediction. I want Hogarth to get experimental treatment that turns her into a crazy person with superpowers, and for her, Jessica and her mom to have to fight her.
It's possible. I don't know though.
It's not possible, but like that's the dumb comic book. Like if this were a comic book, that is what this would be.
I'm
or
trying to
whatever.
think if I can make a prediction as to what I think will happen.
This would be like a run of like introducing the like mantis or something like that. And she'd have like bug DNA to help her heal or something.
We also need some sort of a through line that could be for the next Defenders. Like we don't have anything that's going to carry on, or what the potential bad guy for season 3. Like
Yeah,
you'd think
wait a
there'd be
minute.
something else happening.
So have we actually had like there've been uh, unless you count Hogarth, which I would not, 'cause she's part of Jessica Jones, right?
Uh-huh.
We've had like no cameos, we've had no references, we've had no
Yeah.
external overarching stuff, we've had no the hand, we've had no
Nothing.
evil corporation or whatever, we've had nothing.
Yeah.
This is a personal story about a woman and her mother.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of like the season, right? I think loosely speaking, all of these has to introduce a villain or like an organization of like
Something.
villains, and like the hero has to figure out their shit and then eventually overcome them in some way in the face of like betrayals and challenges and all this different stuff. That's
Yeah.
pretty standard. If they don't do that, I don't know. It's 7 episodes in. I shouldn't be wondering if they're going to get around to doing that, right?
Well, that kind of stuff, it doesn't have to peak in this episode. It just has to, like, peak out and be like, hey, look at me. I'm a little thing that's
Yeah.
going to be coming out later. So we'll see what that's going to be, and if there's even going to
Well-
be a thing. It could just end as a self-contained episode. All of the
Okay.
plot for the next thing could start in someone else's show,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
we
yeah.
just join up when needed.
That's the source of my joke prediction, though, is like, Hogarth's disease is one of these major plot threads. So that would be the whole thing peaking or like hinting at.
I
the
would
whole
think
time or whatever.
more than Hogarth becoming a like mutation monster from whatever this is. I could see the hand picking her up and being
Yeah.
like, "Hey, we'll give you life if you come with
Yeah,
us."
yeah.
I think that might be the better thing because the hand is running low on hands anyway.
That was our first prediction, right? Is like, oh, well, she has to get in that pot and get like rejuvenated, but then like she'll bring something back or she'll leave something behind from the other side. And she'll come right that whole thing, and then she'll be like more ruthless and whatever.
A more ruthless lawyer who could handle it.
But is she gonna? Yeah, but is it gonna be another lawyer lady doing Tai Chi and like fighting Jessica Jones?
I don't think so
That
because she's
doesn't
not
work.
old enough to learn any of that stuff before the next fight. Like Jessica would die of old age before that would happen.
Perfect.
But I don't know. So that's pretty much what happens in this episode, guys. Let us know in those comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.